football idol would probably be Zinedine Zidane, because whenever I was young and I was growing up, and he was the player who was in my position, and I looked at him as the player who was one of the best players in the world at that time in midfield, and I just looked to that sort of guy who was the go-to guy for France and for Real Madrid in the big games. He always turned up, and you've just seen that goal in the Champions League final with his left foot. It's the big players turn up on the big occasions, so he was a player for me. Probably the player who had the biggest influence for me was Paul Scholes. As a young player growing up and always supporting Manchester United and watching the midfield players closely when you're younger and paying attention from what the coaches tell you as well, he was the person the player who was the one who was making the most impact in the midfield, the one who was always driving the game, always wanting to get on the ball, and he was the player who I thought was the best player at Manchester United in that moment in time, but obviously I'm biased because he's a midfield player like me. So. Always, never changed. I mean, sort of like a routine. It's always been pasta and salmon with a little bit of lemon on top of the salmon and bolognese sauce. So I always have that with my pre-match meal. Not too much, but enough carbs and energy so as you want into the game fresh. Yeah, all the time. I've got, obviously EA were happy to give me the 99 rated version of my card, so I play Ultimate Team quite a lot with that, so that would be a definite yes. The most memorable thing about my first team debut, because it was away at Arsenal, it was such a huge ground and such an iconic stadium with like a huge team that I was playing against, and it was just brilliant for me because my family were there and I had cousins who lived down south, so they came to the game as well, and you sort of just weren't really expecting much. You always have to expect that you're going to get on the pitch, but you just weren't expecting it, and you took it as it come, and it was just a really pleasing day for my family. I remember my mum was there and she was obviously really pleased because that's one of the main things that you've been working for your whole life, so for them to see that, it was a dream come true for me. The player I sit next to in the dressing room is Feli, but he's never really next to me in the change room. We're always coming in and going at different times, so it's never really like we're squashed in together because we're two quite big guys as well, so it will get a little bit cramped. And then the change room varies. That can vary from game to game, who's in the squad, but usually I'm next to Juan and Paul. The way that I joined Manchester United was whenever I just turned 5. I think I was 4 actually, so I was in just playing in the Saturday League with my local team Halton, and then there was obviously loads of scouts there, so they just pick you up from there, and ever since 5 years old I've went to the cliff. When you're 9 you sign then, and then ever since that it's the stepping stones from under 10s, 11s, 12s right up until the under 18s, and then you get the reserves and now first team, so it's a stepping stone which you start off when you're really, really young, and I feel like that's benefited me throughout my short career so far. Whenever I was a young player I used to train all the time. It used to be just like the thing that you used to go outside with your friends, but I've been involved with Manchester United since the development centre whenever I was with Rennie at 5 years old, and it just really started from there. You're training 2, 3, 4 times a week, and if you've not got a training session you got to be friends in the park, and I feel like the childhood that I had growing up was a little bit different to it is now, and I wouldn't have changed that for the world, because the amount of time that you got playing outside with your friends, and then you go to training and then you'd want to play out again, and there was nothing better, and hopefully that's what obviously my children will have when they're older and growing up. Yeah, well, my primary school, we had a really good team, so we had lads who were at Preston development centres, obviously Man United development centres and Blackburn, and we was just like a good group of young little players who just really wanted to just play as much football as we possibly could, and we had no worries at that time. You weren't thinking about anything else other than football, and I feel like that's the best way. Well, obviously I've been very, very close with a lot of the reserve team lads for many years now, obviously Callum Whelan he's my boy. He's the guy who I've spent the most time with, and we go on holidays together, we see each other's family, and we're just like brothers really. But in the first team I've been friendly with Axel and Jesse and Marcus for a while now, and I would say they're the main people that I'd speak to in the change room and go out with and socialise with outside of football. The goal that I would probably score, well, not probably, it was definitely be the Wayne Rooney over kick against Manchester City, because like the circumstances of the game, the technique, everything, it was just unbelievable. And I remember sitting in the family stand with Ian Buckingham, the kit man, and we both just looked at each other and we went mad, and it was an unbelievable day, and especially against Man City, there was not a better feeling for Wayne Rooney. Or the Van Persie one, the one where obviously Waz has clipped it over the top and he's caught it on the first time volley, and that was a beautiful goal as well, but I think Rooney's just tops it. It is a difficult one, that, but probably Ryan Giggs, because he was a player who had, obviously, whenever I was really young watching the games, my dad used to say he's top player and you should watch him, and I can just remember him running up and down all day on the left wing, and he was just a phenomenal player, and I was probably about 5 or 6 years old whenever I was watching him, and it just sticks with you throughout your career, and then to finally get a time when you can train with him and be coached by him and stuff like that, there's nothing better, and it was absolutely brilliant for the whole club. Probably table tennis. I know it's a weird one, but I don't actually get to play that much because we don't actually get that much time off. But when I go on holiday with my family, and whenever say if I go to the gym or something like that and there's a table tennis table there, I'm always with my friends like, come, we'll play, have like a round robin. It's just good fun. And it's probably that or snooker, because I'm good at them both. I wouldn't play if I wasn't good, because I'm too competitive. Probably snooker, because I did used to play a lot of snooker just in like leisure time whenever I was chilling with my friends, and I was quite good at it, but say if you don't play for a while, you go rubbish all of a sudden, and it would just be nice if I was to move into a house or something like that, to have a snooker table and practice or something like that.